Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I want to try to put in perspective what's going on right now between Hamas and Israel. And I think these are important points for you guys to understand, especially with the timeline and the specific goals that we think might be in the forefront of some of these minds that are happening around the world. So on May 23rd, sat phones were offered to Congress members. Now they were offered, and I think 100 of the Congress people actually took them. September 12th, the $6 billion was released to Iran. 10 days later, we had an influx of people from around the globe, and that's important to recognize, that crossed our southern border. This was the largest influx of people from around the globe, not just from Central and South America. Okay? And I think Mr. Positive Prepper said for every 1,000 people that crossed the border, 700 were unaccounted for. Like they just came in and they went wherever. That's a lot of people that from around the globe that we don't know where they were from or why they were coming here, that just kind of got lost in the mix and they were just able to go out into the United States. October 4th, we had our national emergency alert system. Now, I don't know how it worked for you guys, but so I was at work and it was myself and 2 co-workers, and then I had 2 people there that I was talking to with the TV on. We had the radio on. I had my phone shut off. My co-workers had their phone shut off. The 2 people that I was meeting with had their phones on, okay? So we have 2 phones on, 3 phones off, 1 TV and 1 radio on, right? The only thing that came across was one of the phones. It never came across TV, never came across the radio, didn't come across the other cell phone that was on. And when we turned our phones back on, we didn't have oh, you missed an alert thing. So I don't know how it works where you guys are at. Maybe put that in the comments below. But I'm just telling you that if that's what they were hoping for, was for it to come across all of these digital and smart devices, it didn't work here in my area. Just saying. So that was October 4th. Then we had October 7th. 3 days later, Hamas attacks Israel. Okay, I wanna spend a moment on that. The way that Israel's border is set up with Gaza, they can tell if a cockroach crosses that border. Okay? They had no idea this was a surprise attack. Now, there's a lot of directions that you can go with that. Okay? Did they allow this to happen so that they could go after the people that they've been wanting to go after for years? Did they really just not know that this was happening? You know, we've heard about paragliders coming in. But they also had to bring the vehicles in that they took their hostages away in, right? So how could they not have known? So I'm just putting this out there. You're going to form your own opinion. But it would really be difficult for me personally, in my opinion, to believe that Israel had no idea that this was coming and that they couldn't have stopped it before it got as far as it did. Or maybe Hamas, with all that new Iranian money, was able to kind of up the ante a little bit in how they got across that border. I'll leave that up to you. So that was October 7th. October 7th through 9th, Americans are divided again. I'm sure you saw the videos if you watched any media over the weekend and then today, where in your blue cities you had people going out there cheering about the attack on Israel, cheering for the deaths of those women and children and older ladies that were raped and killed. And we had Americans going out and cheering for that. I can't put myself in that mindset, but here we are. So when you look at this timeline, what does this tell you? Okay? This tells you that there is no coincidence. Things happen the way that they do because people want them to. Remember in that video that I did about, world hunger and people starving? People wouldn't be starving if other people didn't want it that way. So Mr. Positive Prepper and I sat down and we said, what does this mean? What does this timeline mean? Well, the end goal of all of this is to create chaos in the United States. And that will be through taking down the power grid. It will be an EMP attack, probably around the blue cities, and then also attacks on our infrastructure. Okay? If we are in chaos, so if we're trying to send all this money to Ukraine, and we're trying to defend Taiwan, and now we're going to defend Israel. Well, supposedly your FJB has been missing in action since before noon today. Doesn't seem to care about the people killed in Israel, but that's another discussion. But when we have all of this going on, and while we're dealing with all of this ourselves, China can easily take Taiwan. They're pretty much surrounding it right now. The Middle East, so you have Jordan, Syria, Iran, Palestine, they're all pretty much going to go after Israel. This is not the end times war. I want you guys to understand that. There's things that have to happen before the actual end times war with Israel. Okay, so I don't want you to get that confused. We could actually have a U.S. invasion. We probably already have a battalion of Iranian soldiers on our soil right now. Remember this. Okay? And remember that statistic. For every 1,000 that came across, 700 can be considered unaccounted for. So there could already be enough Iranians or Middle Eastern people that hate the United States sitting in their little sleeper cells waiting for that command code, which could be the power grid going down or that EMP attack or more train derailments to signal that this is when it's their time to rise up. There could be and also in Europe, so pulling that lens back and looking at it globally, the invasion, the wide spread of chaos by Islamic militants, okay? They're already there, and I don't doubt that they're not already here. So all of this, if you look at everything, none of this is coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe things happen for a reason. Okay, whether it's the deep state, the Trump state, warring at each other, or it's just the ideological kind of tug-of-war that they're having with the world right now. However you want to view it. Okay, the United States is in the crosshairs. We have very weak leadership. Our military has been vastly weakened because of this woke stuff, right? We're sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine. That doesn't leave a lot of money to send to Taiwan or to Israel, okay? And we haven't come right out and said, well, we're going to support Israel, because our Sleepy Joe commander and second in command, Cackling Harris, are nowhere to be seen. Okay? So as preppers, I have said it in every single video just about, you need to prepare for a grid down situation, because all of these countries that are invading us through the U.S. southern border know that our power grid is very, very vulnerable. And remember, it only takes, I think it's 7 substations, and it takes us out of commission completely. Prepare for that possible EMP, which we think would probably happen over some of those bigger cities, those blue cities. New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta. Okay, you get the picture. You also need to prepare for financial collapse. We're seeing this, so the banking system is kind of shrinking a little bit. U.S. Bank, closing people's bank accounts, telling them that they can't withdraw money because of glitches in the system. Okay, we all know that that's not true. They're all doing this for a reason. There's not enough money to cover the deposits in the banks, and they don't want a run on the banks. And so we're going to create this kind of vacuum system, right? And it's also, if with the US dollar going down in value, because all of these oil companies are getting rid of the dollar, okay, our dollar is going to be meaningless, and that's going to be a financial collapse. So you need to prepare for that also. Get into your bartering. Get into your bartering systems. Make sure that you have your gold or silver if you can, especially silver, I think even more so than gold, but I'm not an expert on that. And then you also have to prepare for shortages that we haven't seen since the Great Depression. Because if they go after our infrastructure, you're not going to be able to get the groceries, you're not going to be able to get the commodities, you're not going to be able to get the gas, you're not going to be able to get all the things that you need to sustain yourself the way that you are able to right now. Okay, so these are the things that you need to be preparing for. October has come up as a very volatile month with everything that I've seen and read. Now, does that mean that, by October 31st, life as we know it's going to be completely different? I can't say that because I don't know their timeline. But I can tell you that this is not a coincidence, and there's more to come. So be prepared for it. As always, stay safe, stay aware, and God bless.